Okay. Would you all join me in the pledge of allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, do you have minutes for, there's no minutes for last month anyway?
Well, we weren't here. There are no minutes for April, but I did provide minutes for March.
Okay, let's do that. Is everybody familiar with the minutes for
Yeah.
March? I actually did see that and got that.
I wrote them. They were fine. Yeah,
Do you want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the March minutes.
Second? All those in favor? All those opposed? There you go.
Okay. We don't have any old business. I guess you could make the argument this 207 Ledge Court's old business, but I put it under new business. Either way, Meg Robinson is here from Developers Collaborative and about the 207 Ledgewood Court extension to request an extension of the conditional use permit and site plan approval. I provided a little bit of background in the memo that I gave you all. I will let Meg, I guess, explain if I miss anything. What I put in here was the developer of 207 Ledgewood Court multi-unit housing project has requested an extension of the conditional use permit and site plan approval that they received at the May 1st, 2023 planning board meeting. A request for an amendment to the approved application was also approved by the planning board at the December 4th, 2023 meeting. There haven't been any changes since then. Let's see. I provided the notice of decision, I think, for both of those approvals. The applicant plans to be here, is there anything else that I missed? I would like to clarify the extension is going to be for the approval from the May 1st approval in 2023.
Okay.
So
Not the amendment.
right. The amendment it changed it.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. We intentionally didn't do it then. I think we discussed it. Intentionally didn't do it then, so that way this would be the first extension.
Okay.
If right. So yeah, I think.
You got your chair.
Oh, sorry.
Don't. I can do it just as easy as you can. I didn't. She was coming in.
Thank you, Meg Robinson, again with Developers Collaborative. I think Michael covered basically why we're here and what we're asking today. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on why. We always hope that we don't have to come back and ask for an extension. Unfortunately, financing affordable housing developments can be extremely difficult, especially when you're relying primarily on Maine Housing's competitive low-income housing tax credit program, which also comes with credit caps and subsidy caps as well. And just unfortunately, in the last two rounds we had last fall, the 9% round, and this spring also a competitive 4% round, we were for both unable to meet the threshold criteria to submit the project based on a lack of funding. So we continue to search for alternate sources of funding for the project. We also, based on Maine Housing's draft qualified plan for the upcoming 9% round, do anticipate that we will meet all of the threshold criteria when that application is due later this summer, pre-application this summer, and then full application in September. And so we are anticipating submitting the project there. That is a competitive round as well, so it will be subject to the scoring that we receive on the project. But we hope to be able to receive our funding at that time. If we do, just to give you a sense of our timeline, if we are awarded credits under that 9% program, we would work on furthering the design of the project over the next 8, 10 to 12 months. We'd anticipate starting construction in September 2025. And that means the project would end after 12 months of construction, summer 2026, and hoping to open by early fall 2026. So happy to answer any questions you may have about the process.
I don't really have any questions. You?
No, so you're saying that you've secured additional funding, so you'll be able to meet the threshold required by main housing.
So actually, we have funding outside of the low income housing tax credit in our project now, including Lincoln County ARPA funds. But we've had those for quite a while now. The problem is that, or the concern we've had is that the subsidy caps and the credit caps that main housing adjusts for each of their programs, unfortunately did not allow us to meet the threshold for those other programs. They've updated those for this upcoming fall, and we do appear to be able to make it in our models to be able to cover the gap based on the new subsidy allowances and credit allowances.
Any other questions?
I know.
Anybody want to make a motion on this?
So I make a motion that we approve the extension of the conditional use permit and the site plan approval that they received.
And just to be clear, to extend it from
From
not
May-
today, but from, I guess, May
May 1st.
1st
May
of
1st,
2020.
2023.
Yeah, well, the expiration would be 2024, so we'll move the expiration from May 1st, 2024 to now be May 1st, 2025.
Okay,
You don't have to say it.
I want to say it again. All right. I second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
do
All
it.
those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you all for your continued support of the
Yeah.
project. We appreciate it.
No, I mean, we're all real excited about it.
We are too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again.
Okay,
I'm sure I'll continue to be in touch with Mike in the coming months. So
okay.
thanks again.
Yeah, no problem. That's the only new business. And then other than that, I've got some updates for you all on a couple projects and issues. One, ordinance updates. Really want to get these done, but I am just very busy with the comprehensive plan, which I'm going to hopefully finish up what's taking a lot of my time, which is the future land. Well, two of you are intimately involved with that.
Yeah.
The future land use chapter. But either way, my plan is right now is depending on, I'd like to have a draft of the land updates to the land use ordinance for you all to review. And we can discuss at the next the June planning board meeting. It's possible that if the June planning board meeting looks like it's going to be a pretty full agenda, then I'd like to schedule a workshop so we can just get that done without having to wait till
That's fine.
July.
Okay,
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Some of those changes, they need to be in effect by July 1st. It's not gonna be the end of the world if they're not. But we'll just be out of compliance with the state's standards until we get those updated. So that's where those stand. And then just I have two other just general updates. I spoke with Sherry Flint at In and Along the Way, and I have a meeting with them scheduled for May 14th just to do like a preliminary site plan review and just discuss what their plans are for. They're also trying to develop some housing. I'm not sure if it's technically affordable.
It's
I'm sure
not,
it's gonna be.
it's technically not affordable.
Yeah, I think it's going to be.
They're individual, they're duplexes is
Yeah.
what their original plan was, is to put a bunch of duplexes out there.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
people come out of their houses and they want, smaller living quarters.
Right.
It's like, almost like condos. And
Yeah.
people taking care of them,
Yeah.
and then they're gonna have, the center.
Yeah.
Where they can get meals. I don't know, didn't they say they're gonna have a nurse on board up there or something like that too?
I seem to remember that, but
But it was,
Yeah.
it's elderly housing.
It's kind of like, it's an interesting model. Because it's not what a normal
No, it's not.
assisted living
No, it's not.
or whatever does.
Yeah, it's like assisted living
It's like,
with a
camp.
little distance.
Yeah,
That's
Right.
I mean, I remember, I mean, we went through that thing with a fine tooth comb when that came in front of us and at the time it seemed like a good idea and I think it still is, honestly.
Good.
it's a pretty amazing piece of land.
Which it is.
Yeah. I can tell you
And
that
I hope they group the housing
they,
accordingly.
the plan that I just received, the housing is basically right up pretty close to the road now. It's a little bit of a cul-de-sac. Originally, they had planned to put it, at least the plan that I had seen, which was different from, I assume, the plan that you had seen. It was supposed to be further back. So this is really,
Pond.
yeah, basically next to the pond, and now they pulled it closer to the road. So yeah, it's most of the land is, I'm imagining it be untouched.
So I don't know if it's prime farmland or not, or if it's just hay land.
Yeah, that's
I don't know if it's cropland,
right.
but, so they're gonna have like a joint septic system?
Yeah, it was discussed about extending the sewer out there, and I think,
It's probably not affordable for them
yeah,
to do.
it wouldn't be affordable. I think someone on the sewer district, John, maybe, he's also, I think, on their board, but involved. So someone who would know
Yeah,
pretty well whether or not it would be feasible. I think essentially said like
Yeah.
it's not. So
you know. I was thinking about, I was rereading, you might have noticed, I made some edits on the plan. I'm sure they're irritating to you, but whatever, you can ignore them. What we're working on right now, Jonathan, is the future land use part of the plan.
Mhm.
And I just think that you, as a long-term resident and planning board member, should really, your input on that would be really valuable.
Do you have this stuff down is it in written form at this point? Or are you still in the discussion phase?
Well,
we're,
we're kind of like, it's sort of like evolving.
Yeah.
It's been written down, but it's very malleable.
Do you have any copies of any of that?
Yeah,
that we're gonna have a copy. What's holding things up is me finishing the future land use section.
Mhm.
And then we'll have a draft that we're gonna make available to
but can you
everybody, but
show him like what you've decided, what we've kind of thought about as growth areas in the town?
I can.
Because that's what's really interesting.
Let me see.
Like
Oh,
we're,
yes.
I guess the idea of the plan basically, or this part of the plan is to encourage more infill in places where the sewer already reaches,
Mhm.
rather than. So sort of a consolidation of the growth area. From what it was before, sort of.
At this point, you actually have to start building back off the road and behind already existing structures
Yeah,
and things like that.
yeah.
You'd have to build.
I know, I mean, and we have that. We have that in town, you know, you have that little house on the Day property.
Yeah,
You know,
Right behind the bank.
yeah,
Sure.
by the bank, you
Yeah.
have,
I'm not sure. who
on-
owns that,
on
but I've seen it.
Elm Street, you have some houses that are built behind other houses, you have. So like, the teacher on Hodgson Street, Miss Sims, Patty Sims built that accessory building,
Mhm.
you know, with a apartment. It's really another house kind of on her little tiny eensy beensy lot.
Yeah.
It's happening, you know what I mean?
Well, that's how towns are built,
Yeah,
honestly.
and see that, what we really want to emphasize is that incremental approach
Okay.
of people, and as a way of expanding housing stock rather than, you know, a lot of new developments, I guess.
Yeah, or
You mean like individual housing rather than developments?
Yeah, individual housing, maybe small apartment buildings between 2 and 10 at
Mhm.
max.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I'm all for that. I'm all for smaller houses,
Conversions,
you know that.
conversions of older housing,
Mhm,
older houses into like apartment buildings, apartment units,
mhm.
things
Like
like
some of the
that.
bigger houses, like
Yeah.
on Vine Street and stuff like that.
Right,
Right, so allow, some people have been coming and asking, well, can I add another unit? Above my garage or something, or get rid of my garage and just put a unit there. And I, I think that is a much gentler way to get new units in than to say, sure, you can put, another 2 stories or knock down this house and build a new, 3-story apartment building.
Yeah, I'd rather not have a lot of houses knocked down.
Right, right.
so I think that that's a really important part of it actually is to tighten up our, well, to really discourage demolition.
I
Because we've had some, not too many, but we've had some unfortunate demolitions in town.
yeah,
I mean, people don't like, in Maine, people fix anything. But people
Right.
come in here from other places
Mm.
and they'll see like, a hole in the floor and they'll say, knock the place down. Or they don't understand that you can fix everything.
Yeah. You can.
right.
It's an ethic. It's sort of an approach that's not shared by people in other places. Like when I was doing the renovation on 50 Hodgson Street, the lead abatement project, the head of the crew that was working on it, he had come up from Virginia. He says, back in Virginia, we just knocked this place down. I can't believe you're putting all that money in this place. This place, you start from scratch.
Mhm.
And it's just an ethic,
The thing is, these houses they build from scratch nowadays are insulated beyond belief and their lifespan is only about 40 years. And it is. These
Yeah.
houses are not built for the duration and they're not built to last 100 years. If you get 40 years out of a house made out of beaver board and glue, you're doing pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they trap moisture, the insulation quality, yeah, saves a lot of money, saves a lot of fuel, but the stuff, they're gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
Right.
And you
Yeah.
see these houses collapsing in 40 years, literally. I'm not gonna see them, 'cause I'm gonna be alive, but I don't think. 65, 75, 85,
You will
95,
be.
I'll be 105.
You'll be, it's easy, Jonathan.
I don't know, I feel pretty crispy around the edges sometimes.
Well, yeah, I think all of those are what the specifics are going to get worked out after the comp plan's adopted of how do we implement this? What do we want to max out certain areas at 4 units a lot or 10 units a lot? That goes in the code. A lot of but we want those conversations to start now as the public gets to see this. And then, like I said, this is still very much a draft when it goes out. But so hopefully we'll start these conversations, but I think it would be it'd be wonderful if people were restoring and repairing houses and also, expanding houses. So if there's I think you said it, like this is how towns
Yeah.
are developed or
It
are
certainly
built
is.
is someone gets a small, what some people are calling starter homes, which, haven't been built for a long time, but starter homes and say, they add an L onto it or they add something on. So now all of a sudden there's another bedroom or 2 bedrooms or separate unit. You mentioned larger houses, if you can, rent out the basement or the attic or something. So
I mean, what people generally have been doing this so that they can do short-term rentals.
right.
And so
Mhm.
that doesn't really help the problem that we have in,
No, it doesn't.
No.
so that's kind of,
And that's
that's
I
kind of the
think
issue. How do you encourage people to
to do long term.
do long-term? But
Yeah.
I mean, some people do just accommodate family members and stuff.
Yeah, and the short term rental issue is something we're gonna have to address probably at some point. I mean, I guess there's different
Yeah.
perspectives,
I
of
mean,
course,
the
so.
thing about the short-term rental, it provides income so people can
Right.
pay the property taxes and stay in town.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of friends.
Yeah, my brother-in-law in particular depends on that
Yeah.
to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Peter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's managed to get, he's blind. Has been for a long time. I mean, it's very
Oh,
limited income.
That's your brother-in-law?
That's my brother.
Huh.
But, I mean, without Right now, he's got a long-term rental in there, but they got a really good renter, but for quite a long time, they were doing short-term rentals.
Mhm.
And then they get somebody in there for the winter and then back out in the spring and they short-term rented again in the summer. Did
Yeah,
pretty well.
it's been essential for their,
It has been
economy.
essential to them. I mean, they wouldn't be able to get by without it.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. I think it's not gonna be as simple as just no short-term rentals or anywhere you can do short-term rentals. I think, well, but I'd love to figure out some way to like leverage the demand for short-term rentals to encourage people to add another unit. Like you can do another short-term rental if you do a long-term rental too,
well,
but I don't know
I
how.
don't
Is
know.
that how they regulate that?
No,
Other
no,
towns
we
regulate
could,
that?
we could. I mean, it's, we, right now, there's no regulation, short-term, long-term.
Well,
But the other towns have regulations.
Oh, yeah,
for
sure.
short-term
Some
rentals.
people have done-
Portland in particular.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Portland, I think
Quotas.
they have a certain amount of permits that you can get to rent out units that you don't live in. I think they've really restricted it to say you can short-term rent your unit that you live in, I think if you own it. But you need a permit to rent out a unit that you're not living in.
I like the gig with you want a short-term rental, you need one long-term rental.
Yeah, I think that.
It'd be
Could be
awfully
good.
hard to regulate
Mhm.
and police.
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
I think sounds like a pretty reasonable idea to me.
yeah, but
you
it's
know?
really, that's, I mean, most houses can only accommodate like a space for one rental. I
Peter
think that would be really
got one.
difficult.
That's in, yeah, we'll have to figure out, maybe it's like, you can do one. But if you want to do two, you have to have this many. We can figure out exactly what the specifics are, but I think I mean, short-term rentals are not a new thing to Mid-Coast Maine, right? I mean, people have been
Certainly.
renting out a house or whatever for a week for,
Hundreds of years.
yeah, so. But that's the comprehensive plan. I do have one other. Oh, 100 Main Street, Bangor Savings. I spoke with both the bank and their consultant, David, their consultant, and they said that they're planning on submitting something like something for me to review. What they would like to do is they did say they made some changes, mostly in response to comments from the planning board and comments from the public. So I don't know if it's going to be wholly different. I think they said that they are moving away from the water a bit more than they were. We'll see what the specifics are, but the process that I discussed with David was basically, get me something and I'm happy to share anything that I get with the planning board and the public. Nothing I see is private, but to review and say, here are some issues that are going to come up and conflict with the ordinances. So hopefully whatever does come before the planning board, it's not, I can say, yes, it meets all the standards, or here's the questions, that the planning board is going to need to review. And
But
so-
it'll really be interesting to see how they deal with the waterfront. Like
Mm-hmm.
how they plan to gain height. Like, are they gonna put in like, sort of like a seawallish thing?
I don't,
Or
I
what?
think they can grade that. As far enough back, so they can grade it.
They can grade it up.
Focus on
Okay.
slope.
and also parking lots, if the parking lot is going to flood, it's not really a big issue. Like the flood hazard ordinance, I don't think is going to be an issue for the parking.
No.
It's really the buildings that are back there, where, so we'll see. I don't know. I imagine they're changing how they're grading it. But I think the issue of like, if you're building a seawall, I don't think a parking lot's going to need a seawall. It's really,
No, they were planning on riprap.
yeah,
Going
like,
up.
right.
So that they could fill in a lot of that
Yeah.
area.
I think I'm pretty sure when I was speaking with David earlier, he was saying like they reduced the riprap. I think because it sounds to me like they're probably pulling the parking lot back. I don't know if they're turning it or what, so that they can get a more gentle grade towards the water, so that they don't need as much riprap or any riprap.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
It'd be nice. Well, I don't know. Let's see. It's their deal.
Yeah. And then I just asked if, we want to make sure that we're clear on right title, standing and all of that, that whatever property they have, that it's clear. So I'll try and,
I believe that's their property. And they have
Yeah.
access to it across their
Mhm.
property.
yeah,
They don't have to use somebody else's property to get to it, so. That's really not an issue with me at all.
yeah. No, I don't think it was. What I did discuss with them is that I'd like to be able to make sure that the attorney reviews the whole title issue so that we can
Mhm.
be clear in the past. What I've heard from attorneys was if it's unclear whether this owner or that owner, like where the property line is, that's an issue for that's a private property issue. That's for the two of them to work out, as long as the planning board has some reasonable understanding that the applicant has some interest in the property. But that's changed, and recently it's basically now the advice I'm getting is you need more, it needs to be more clear. I still don't think that the issues that we were seeing with this about like they weren't developing anywhere near where there was a question as to whether or not
It's a
Griffin
separate
Lane.
lot over there.
Yeah, so I don't think that what they had proposed before was any issue, but
I didn't have any problems with it.
yeah, I think
I thought it was fun.
I just what I said to them was like, if we've got time now, I'd like to send it to an attorney to just
It was
say,
nice
yeah,
if they were
great, you're not
gonna
doing it.
allow, public access across it.
Mhm.
The fact that they were gonna actually allow that, because they don't have to.
If they, did they say they were gonna allow
Yes,
public access of the parking lots?
absolutely.
Okay. Well, if that can be in writing and to the waterfront area,
Yeah,
Right,
that'd be
yeah.
great.
'Cause that was the other thing is they want to essentially over park the building they've got because they said they don't want to have to regulate and tell people you can't park here because they just are like, the public's gonna park back there and they don't want to have to monitor and shoot people away. So they want to,
I think
Which-
I think it's a great
Yeah.
project, and I think it's good for the town, honestly.
Yeah.
I just wish that the town could get their hands on that additional piece, but it's landlocked.
right, and that
And
was,
I don't think the town can take that because it's landlocked.
and that's what they said, like now, I mean,
If I was
that
them-
came up and I
well,
said, you know what, that's not a issue for me or for the planning board, that's select board and.
That's
and-
like-
You know what would
Town
be handy
manager.
for them to do with that? It'd be handy for the town too. Is if they could farm that out as daytime parking for people who work in the town
Mhm.
and charge for it, like Gallagher does. A lot of these people that
Yeah.
have stores, shops, block, work down there,
Mhm.
a lot of them, their bosses pay for their parking. Or their bosses park there, or whoever parks there, but they could do that and alleviate a lot of the parking issues.
Yeah.
With, people who working in town, parking in the back parking lot, moving their cars and blah, 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 you've seen it.
Yeah.
It would be a great idea because it's very underutilized back there.
Yeah, that actually that's the reason I finally reached out to them was just say like, do you have a plan? I'd be happy to
Yeah.
work. That is, there's a
But
lot
they
of
could
potential back
utilize the
there.
rest of it.
If they just want to pave part of it and
Mhm.
that's fine. I mean, it's their property, but
I mean, Lizette had said that she would, I think she said, didn't she, that she'd consider granting the town a right of way up Griffin Lane
Mhm.
to access that land.
yeah, I don't
I
remember,
didn't hear that.
No,
but
she might be able to be persuaded then.
Yeah.
Or asked, or whatever,
right,
especially if there was maintenance of the driveway included.
right. Yeah, so we'll see what what Bangor Savings comes in with and maybe they can talk with Andy and he can kind of pull the select board, see what they may be interested in doing. We'll see where that
Right.
goes, but I just want to let you know that I
Okay,
at least
good.
have made contact again with that and something's coming, but
Yep.
Good.
we'll see when.
Not in June, probably.
Probably not. Probably not. I haven't seen anything yet, so I'm guessing.
Yes.
And then the only other thing I have is the site plan that was approved. I guess it was at the last meeting from Perone or Anderson. They updated, put up the conditions of approval on there, and I just need the planning board to sign it.
Okay,
Got you three here, so you can sign it while you're here, and then I've got.
You need a Mylar, or just a regular plan?
No, just regular.
You wanna use black ink?
And
Blue.
so,
Are you cool with blue?
no, blue, black, as long as it's I got 2 copies here, so what I told the applicant was I would have the other, are there 3 in there?
There's 3 in there.
We can do it over.
I'm gonna do it over there.
Um,
Oh, on the big table?
yeah,
Okay.
so that, I told them they can come pick that up on Thursday. Hopefully I can get a couple other members to come in. I think technically we only need 3, that's enough, but then they will be able to register with that with the county and it'll be official. Today is the 6th, yes. So.
Yes, I can go home and continue digging in my garden until the black flies drive me out.
So Karen, make a motion to be adjourned.
You certainly can. I will second in
I'll
that.
second.
All those in favor? There you go.
Okay, bye.
See you later. Come on, black flies, here we go.
Okay.
Yes, that was quick. Half
Good.
an hour. That's about the time.
All right, Mike, thanks.